This week, Trump campaign manager Kellyanne Conway did an interview with Channel 4 in the UK. I believe Trump recently promised he'll get over 95% of the British vote. Conway was asked about polls and talked about the undercover Trump voter. Take a look.
Donald Trump performs consistently better in online polling, where a human being is not talking to another human being about what he or she may do in the election.
Why is that, do you think?
It's because it's become socially desirable, especially if you're a college-educated person in the United States of America, to say that you're against Donald Trump. The hidden Trump vote in this country is a very significant proposition.
Have you been able to put a number on that?
Yes.
Good. What do you think that is?
I can't discuss it.
Oh, come on.
No, it's a project we're doing internally. I call it the undercover Trump voter, but it's real.
Yep, voters definitely feel pressure to hide their support for Trump. I believe we have tape of an actual undercover Trump voter.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I'm running with Donald Trump, so I'm his running mate. Okay, all right. Just tapped me a month ago.
Fair point. Yeah, see, what happened was, Ambassador, that barber pretended to not be a Trump supporter, and as soon as they turned off the cameras, it was build a wall this, kick him out that, and you just couldn't get him to stop. It was unbelievable. Katie, everyone knows online polls are the most reliable, especially the ones that let people vote more than once.
You know I'm obsessed with polls and studies.
I do know that.
Have you ever been asked to take a poll or study?
No.
Never. I get calls for polls all the time.
Really?
Probably because I answer the phone.
Yeah, I don't pick up the phone.
You've taken a poll on what?
No, I declined to answer. I mean, I got the call and then I hung up.
Oh, I always got an answer. I want to hear the poll.
Legitimately answered a study or a poll. It's beyond me. So, and actually, and then on the flip side of this, I really question the logistics behind, not providing any numbers. There needs to be a little bit more specifics here in this undercover campaign.
Right, yeah.
Nothing I love more than conservatives not believing polls. In fact, Lou Dobbs still owes me dinner from 2012, and so does Bill O'Reilly. So, keep on not believing the polls and saying there's some conspiracy, and then you won't change your strategy, and you won't win, just like Romney didn't win in 2012.
Well, let me ask you, how worried is Hillary about the undercover Trump voter? Is she sweating this, or is the sweating just a symptom of her failing health?
There's no such thing as the undercover voter. The polls actually work. Nobody is sweating the undercover voter. If anything, there might be some white men in their 40s who might be voting for Hillary who don't want to say it.
That's possible.
Look for Mr. Dobbs and Mr. O'Reilly to finally
give that
absolutely. I will email the both of them as soon as we're done.
I email them. They don't respond.
Yeah, I'll text them. Yeah. Listen, isn't Kellyanne, this is the best. Why would they be spending time wondering about how many people are ashamed to vote for Trump? She's like, yes, I do know how many undercover voters there are, as long as there are no follow-up questions. And she knows about this undercover voter thing, which I'd never heard of, because she's surrounded by them. Her family's embarrassed to say that they're voting for Trump. She has interns that are embarrassed to say they're voting for Trump. I wish this was more of a thing, and for 18 months, people would be less inclined to tell you who they're voting for, and then we wake up that Tuesday night, and, all of a sudden, Roseanne Barr's president.
Yeah, that'd be all right.
Surprise.
All right, Ambassador, nobody believes this undercover Trump voter stuff. Do you?
In fact, she's right. And indeed, there's historical precedent for it. In Virginia, it was called the Wilder effect. When Doug Wilder, an African-American, was running for governor, people knew the politically correct answer to the pollsters was to say they were for Wilder. And in fact, the polls showed him 4 or 5% ahead of where he ultimately turned out. Now, what's the number in the Trump camp? I don't know. But if anybody doesn't think it's politically correct to answer Clinton, then you're missing the point. Now, I wouldn't conduct a campaign that believed in the Easter Bunny to save me. So I wouldn't be counting on the undercover Trump voter. But I'm telling you, I think there is some number out there of people who will not say Trump. I think especially among minorities.
Maybe, 2 polls maybe, but it's the average of the polls that matters. It's also the trend in the polls that matters.
All of that's true, but I'm just saying, if there's not an undercover Trump vote in November, I'll be surprised. I think Trump will outperform. That doesn't mean he's going to win, but he'll do better than whatever the last average is.
Study aside, though, regardless of whether the poll is true or false, isn't it a little odd to put a spotlight on the fact that they're making it known that people are embarrassed to vote for Trump?
Exactly.
Well, I'll disagree. I'll disagree with that. I think you've got to break through somehow to make it more respectable. I think there are a lot of people who are afraid to say it. And in part because of the reaction.
In what part of the country? Everybody's so bold in this nation.
I'm not saying this is a dispositive fact, but I do think there is a hidden Trump vote.
You should read my Twitter feed. Nobody hides their support for Trump on it. It's pretty bold.
I just feel like we've maybe reached peak 2016 election when a person like Kellyanne Conway, who basically her entire living is polls, is now saying polls are unreliable.
Right.
So I don't know. I find that kind of interesting. Maybe it's just me.